David, thank you for joining us. Now, with the ICT sector making considerable strides, you are launching a new satellite. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Avanti was the first company outside America to launch a new technology, which is called Ka-band. It means it's a very high speed, very high frequency type of satellite. And it changes everything you've ever thought about satellite technology. What it means is, for the first time, people can have very high speed broadband internet access services, and they can have it for very low prices. So new technology brings low prices. So our first satellite is in service today over Europe. Our second satellite launches next month from French Guiana, so we're all very excited about the forthcoming launch. And by August, we'll be ready to start turning customers on in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Kenya, and Tanzania. And then our third satellite will launch in 2015, also to serve those same countries in Africa.
Now, what is your market strategy? Because some of the countries that you've targeted are South Africa, Tanzania, and Kenya. How are you going to ensure that you are giving broadband to places where typically there is limited access?
Well, our market strategy was to target those countries which have got high populations and strong economic growth. One of the great things about being a European businessman coming to Africa is that there is no sovereign debt crisis here, and there's lots of growth. And there are lots of people who need our services, whether they're businesses or households or governments. Our distribution strategy is to work with local partners. I'm of the very firm belief that it's foolish to try and sell in a country like South Africa without very strong local partnerships. So we already have some local distribution partnerships signed, and we're here this week looking for more, and we'll be signing up more customers in the next couple of months as we approach the launch of service. So our local distribution partners will take the product directly to the end user in markets. Some of them will specialize on the consumer market, some will specialize in business and government, and some will do a combination of all of them.
Now, speaking about sectors, what are some of the benefits that we can expect to see in terms of our social and the economic aspect of broadband?
Well, I began my journey in Africa in the late 1990s. I was working as a banker trying to finance some satellite projects for some European companies to serve Africa, and those projects failed because the shareholders didn't have the courage of their convictions. And so I left my job and I started Avanti in my spare bedroom in 2002. We had to do a satellite for Europe first. That was the easiest way of raising money. But as soon as we had the chance, we started buying satellites for Africa. Now, in Europe, we began by serving the digital divide problem. So I think there's a myth here that in Europe and elsewhere outside Africa, the digital divide problems have gone away, and that's not true. There are still very significant populations in Europe that don't have access to good quality broadband, so we still have a lot of work to do in Europe. My very strong focus here in South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania particularly, is to look at how we can solve the digital divide problems very quickly. So we are partnering with some governmental organizations as well as some commercial service providers. Avanti has more expertise, in my opinion, than any other company in the world in addressing digital divide problems. With the British government, our first digital divide project was 2002. So we've been doing this for 10 years now, helping people in remote and rural areas get access to the kind of quality broadband that brings them new access to education, employment, and healthcare information. I'm very lucky to be able to do work which has the twin benefits of making good money and also helping people to improve their lives. That's a nice place to be.
The regulatory environment plays a very important role whenever it comes to expansion into any African countries. What are some of the challenges that you've experienced when trying to penetrate into the different market economies?
In the satellite industry, there is a very long established and very complicated regulatory environment that we've been working on for a decade. So we now have all of our regulatory affairs in place to be able to offer satellite services in all the countries in Africa that we're addressing. I actually find that the local regulations in countries like South Africa are business friendly. They're quite benign. It seems clear to me that the government here is properly motivated to make sure that infrastructure gets developed quickly and efficiently by good professional companies. So we're not finding that there are significant challenges to be overcome in the regulatory sphere. We are very respectful of the government's needs and requirements, and we work very hard to make sure that we always have best regulatory practice. But there is certainly a set of regulations here and elsewhere in Africa that is friendly towards the rapid deployment of this broadband infrastructure. So I'm very pleased to say that we have bigger problems in other countries outside Africa.